Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you how to install one of these switches that controls both the light and the fan on a single box here, and convert one of these. I already have the electrical turned off, but convert one of these single switches that controls both the light and the fan on those cords to be controlled right here. So let's go ahead and get started. So the whole purpose of this is essentially if you have two switches here, or if you don't, I'm showing you how to convert from the single switch to as if you had two switches, but you don't want to put a two switch box in. After doing it, I somewhat question if that would have been easier, but that's okay. I already got these and I kind of like the look of them. So I should mention another reason that you would want one of these. This is in a different room from where I was just filming. Is I actually have a stud here and a stud here. So there is not room for two light switches here. So this is actually a perfect use for one of these because I can't have two switches there. I can't switch out the box for a wider box because there's a stud right here. So another really good use for these. So it really depends on how your stuff is wired. You got to take your fan completely off, and you're going to have to run some of this wiring. There's just no way around it. You can't just run a single red wire like I thought you might be able to. You have to run, depending upon the thickness, I'm just running 14 gauge, but 3 wires. So in this you have, you can't really see it, but a white, black, red, and then a copper wire. So technically there's 4 wires, but you can't use that copper for anything. So there's only 3 usable wires. So, as you can see from the schematic here, this is how I'm going to wire it up. I am treating this line here as if that's my incoming power. And I'll show you how I'm going to have it wired up there. So how mine is set up is I actually have outlets that also wire through here, behind that pillow and behind the bed here, that need constant power. So how this single one is wired off of that, how it's going to be wired off, is essentially just a branch off. My black wire connected to all the black wires there, and then the white one that comes here is going to be connected in there, along with the white one from the fan. And so from the schematic here, I'll just treat this as the power in. So I need to run this wire now through the wall here. Honestly, it just takes 2 people. It's pretty dang hard to do by yourself. It's much easier with 2. Go open my attic, find it, and weave it down through here, and just barely be able to catch it through that extra hole there. I'm going to have to wire it through, come down through here, and I'll show you how I have it all wired in from there. But as you can see from this schematic, in my box here, the white that I have for my current one, and then the white from this that I'm going to wire in, are going to pigtail together and stay in the box. I'm going to have my red wire is going to go to the fan. The black wire is going to be the hot from my current wire that's there. And then the black one from this is going to feed up through here and is going to connect in to my fan and light. So let's go ahead and get that fed through, and then I can show you how some of the wiring is done at the fan box and here at the switch. So sometimes I make these videos to also remind myself of what I did in the future. So this cord right here, sorry, like I said, some of this all goes to outlets and stuff. This black cord here goes all the way in, feeds over here. And this white cord here is tied in to the black hot. So to simplify it, and so that I have everything marked correctly, I'm actually going to put this black cord, pigtail it into the black ones, and then the white one here I'm going to pigtail into here, and then that converts this wire here into the power, just like you saw on that diagram that comes from the manufacturer of that. So that's what will convert that into basically power, hot power coming in, and how we can wire it correctly. So I'm going to go ahead. Again, I don't know if yours is going to be set up like this. It might be, but this is what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it. so that it's converting that into an inflow of power rather than a break in the power. You might have two wires coming into your box here already. That's essentially just a break in the power that goes from, basically you'll have a power coming into the switch and then that line running here, and you aren't going to have all this extra stuff. So kind of depends on how yours is wired. This is how mine is wired and how I'm doing it. All right, so I got this it's really 3 and a ground wire through here and fed through there. Went all the way up through here. I obviously had to go in the attic for that. So I got all my black connected here so that that one again counts as basically incoming constant power to that black switch there, because that's what this little switch needs. So I wired that in there. This white has a pigtail off of it that all of the whites up here are going to go to. So the white that goes to that constant power is now going to go in here to this pigtailed white. The white from my new 4 wire is going to go in there, and then the white from the fan is going to go in there. This is going to be my fan, my red, so I'm going to plug that into the fan area, and then it's going to tie into, on my fan, my wiring is the blue wire is the light, the black wire is the fan. So the black wire is going to go on here from my fan, blue wire is going to go on here. So let's go ahead and get this switch wired up next. All right, so you can kind of see the lettering here. This is the hot, so the black, my constant power for my old wire, is going to go in there. The load is really the light. I don't know why it says load, it should say light. So that black wire is what I'm going to tie into the light on my fan. So that's going to, from my new 4 here. And then the red is going to be the fan over here. Obviously, there's a ground too. As you can see, my house is older and is not pre-wired with ground. So there isn't necessarily a point in even wiring that in. And then the 2 white ones are going to pigtail together. So go ahead and get that wired up. So got those whites pigtailed and got everything else wired in. I'll show the fan in just a sec. This box takes up a lot of room in here, so you might need to remove, especially if you're not using it at the bottom. There's a little clamp for wires that might come in the bottom of the box, and you might not even be able to fit the top one. So just keep that in mind when you shove this all back in there. It took a bit of finagling for me to get mine back in. So let me show you the fan, how I wired that up next. So most newer fans have some kind of hook that you can hook things so it can hang while you wire everything. So as I said before, pigtailed all of the white together into one. The ground doesn't really matter in my case. Hopefully it does in yours. And this particular fan, the blue is actually the light, which goes to the load on that switch. And the red, or the black, is the fan, which I wired into the fan on the switch. So go ahead and put this back on and let's flip the breaker and test it. Alright, so moment of truth. Do the light first. Lights on. It's a dimmer. Final little click. And the fan works. Basically, you pull your chains and have it on the highest setting. That way when it's on 3 here, it's on the highest setting there. So I still need to adjust all this and make it look nicer and tighten it in better. This is a really good option for if you have rentals or kids who keep ripping those chains out. I've had to deal with that several times. Can't rip the chains out if you don't have chains to rip on. So that is how you wire in one of these dual switches for a light fan combo. So hopefully this was helpful, and thanks for watching.